Hello and welcome to Upstack America's Oracle EBS Financials Functional Training. My name is Bob and I'm the lead senior consultant for Upstack America. And with me today I have Victor, who is also a senior consultant. And today we are handling General Ledger Lesson 53. And Victor, please walk us through.
Thank you, Bob, for the introduction, and welcome to this lesson in our Oracle Financials Functional Training series. In this lesson, we are going to cover some more topics concerning the FSG reports. We are going to look at FSG exceptions, how to flag exceptions in an FSG report, and to run an FSG report in exceptions mode, which are all concepts we are going to understand clearly. And we are also going to see how to display debit or credit activity in an FSG report. What we have been seeing so far has been net activity. So we can customize our reports to show just credit or debit activity. However, before we start, I just wanted to go back to a topic that we were looking at in our previous session, where we were using the content set to override, to produce consolidated reports, which is basically to override the assignments that we have in our row set. In that session, we were unable to produce a report that we wanted, but I'll just go ahead and demonstrate exactly what we wanted to achieve. So quickly log in. So what we wanted to do in that session was to show that you can use a content set to make a report that was specific to one maybe company. You can turn it into a consolidated report just by what? Just by attaching a content set. Okay. So let's go to reports. So the report we are using in that previous session was this Mascani report. This was our row set and this was our column set. However, in this demonstration, I'm going to use this Mascani income statement report. I think we are going to be able to see the results much better. So quickly, let's go and look at what is in the row set. So it's the Mascani income statement row set. So this is the row set that we are going to be using, and let's look at what's in here. So we have 3 line definitions. We have 3 row definitions. So we have revenue accounts, we have expense accounts, and we have net income. The account assignments in the revenue accounts are this. So this report, the way it has been designed, is specific to company 1. Okay, so as you can see here. And that's the same for the expense accounts. So it's specific to company 1, right? Of course, the net income is a calculations row or line. So this is how we get the net income. So if we use this row set to run a report, what do we get? So let's see, Mascani. So we want to run this income statement. I have also attached a row order. I modified the row order a bit. When we were talking about the row order, we said how we can use it to change sequencing, like how the segments are arranged in the report. So I made sure that the segments are arranged the way we are used to them, like company, account, division, and so on. And we're going to see that when we run the report. So let's run this report for company one. We are not going to attach any other optional component apart from the row order, and let's submit. All right, so that's our request. All right. So let's see what this will give us. Okay. Before we see this, maybe let's go on quickly and look at our content set. Which is Maskani. I think we only have one anyway. So this is our content set, and that's the name Maskani All Companies. Let's see what the account assignments are here. So there's no account assignment basically, but we have changed the display here to page total. So once we have done this, we expect to produce now a consolidated report. We can also just go ahead and put in the ranges. So when you do that, what we are saying is that we want a consolidated report, right? So when we attach this content set to that report that we ran that was specific to company one, then we expect to have a consolidated report instead of a report that's specific to company one. So let's go back to a request screen and see whether our report should be complete. There it is. Let's view output. All right. So this report is for company one. Okay. Pay attention mostly to the figures. That's where we are going to see the main difference. Okay. We could have given this a name, Maskani Income Statement Company 1. That's the right way to do it. So let's go back and now run the report using the content set. So report function F11. That's our report. Let's run report. Here we want to attach a content set now. Okay. We have just one, Maskani All Companies. We are running it for the same month of October, and let's submit. All right, let's wait for this to complete, and we'll see whether there's a difference. It's taking its time. So that's completed. Let's view our output. So for one, you can see up here it says this is running for company 001 to 999. Okay, so Maskani developers to whichever is the last company uh, in our ledger. So this is the consolidated one, and this is the one for company one. Okay, on face value, maybe it's not that easy to discern the differences, but you can see even there's difference in the figures. So for example, for October, sales and revenue is this 98, but if you look at the consolidated, it's 102, and that's the same period. So it means there's additional like figures which have been added here. So this is a consolidated one, and this is the one for company 001. So just by attaching the content set, we were able to override the company segment assignments, and we made this a consolidated report from a report that was specific to company 001. Okay, so that's just what I wanted to demonstrate because we had failed to do so in that particular session. So can close that, and let's go back to our slides. Okay, so flagging exceptions in FSG reports. So basically what this means is that whoever is reading the financial statements that you are producing, they may want to see, or you may want to highlight certain values on the reports that maybe they stand out or something like that, like outliers or something, or values of interest basically. Okay, and how do you do it? You use the exceptions tab, all right, on your column set when you're designing your column set, and that way you can give conditions to Oracle to be like if a certain figure is maybe below this amount, or if this amount is, you should highlight it, and you can specify what kind of mark you want to highlight that particular figure. You can also run a report in exceptions mode, and what this means is that in that report, the only figures which are going to be highlighted are the ones which are going to be displayed in the report are the ones which are exceptions or values of interest. Okay, so we're going to see both features in action. So let's head on over to Oracle. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a report. It's going to be a variance report. Okay, so we'll have a budget versus actual variances, and then we are going to say that we are going to have a variance row. Okay, so we're going to have one that shows budget amounts, then we're going to have one that shows actuals, and then we're going to have another column that shows variances. Okay, and then we are going to say that in the areas where the variance is maybe below a certain figure, maybe below 0, we want Oracle to highlight those figures. All right, so our first step is to go and see whether we have the column set and the row set requisite to produce this kind of report. So let's start with the row set. So we have this row set, Maskani assets and expenses. Let's see what the rows are. So we have asset accounts, the assignments. This is specific to company 001, it looks like. Okay, that's good. And we have expense accounts, also specific to company 001. And we have totals, okay, which I believe is a calculations row. And that's true. So we can use this row set to create a budget variance report. So as far as the row set is concerned, we are good. We can delete this percentage row definition. We won't be needing this, so we can just take it out because we are using this to do a percentage row and percentage row and columns when we are doing that session. So we can delete this. Say yes. Now we only have 3 row definitions. Okay, let's save that. Let's go to column set. So we have this Maskani 1 month budget and actuals. Let's take a look at this column set. Let's go to the build column set. So we have one column that's showing actuals. We have another column that's showing budget and another column that's showing budget. So it looks like we have 2 budget versions here. So we are going to modify. We are going to modify this column set to fit our current requirements. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this into a variance column. There's actually a special amount type called PTD variance, which is budget minus actuals. You can see it right here. All right. So let's change that to PTD variance for the period of interest. I also want to switch these two. Let me just first save that. So I want this PTD budget to come to be the first one, and the actuals to be the second one. So I just click this and I move this PTD budget to the left. Let's change this first to 0. Let me see what that does. And then change this to 20. Okay. So I want this to be 20. All right, I'm going to delete this row altogether. I can't delete it. All right, let me see this. Hold on. All right. So this is what we had initially. I wanted to move this budget column to be the first one, just out of preference. So I'll move it left. Okay, so that looks good. All right. So we have the first one is the budget column. We have the second one is actuals, and we have the third one is variance. Let's create default heading. Okay. So this is our new heading after we have modified the column set. We can add. Let's move this dashes down here. We can add a macro here for the budget name, and budget 1. Okay, this is a budget column, so we need to do what? Assign a control value, but the control value is already there. We don't need to do anything for these others. All right, so PTD budget period of interest is fine. We can add here that this is a variance column. Okay, and save our work. Let's close that. Now after that, let's go to define columns. Here, for the define columns, you have this exceptions tab. All right, so you want the exceptions to be flagged for which column? The variance column, which is a sequence 30, right? So click on exceptions. Here you have what is the flag. Basically what they're asking you is what is the marker that they should use to highlight on the report. So we can use an asterisk. If you want, you can use any other character, maybe the hashtag or something. So we're going to use an asterisk, right? Description, we can say negative variance. Okay. Exception details. We can say we want what to be flagged if anything showing in this column is less than 0. And it's less than 0, that makes it negative, correct? And we can save that. So we have the exceptions have been specified. Looks like this column has a control value assigned to it. That's fine. You can take that out and save. There's nothing in this column that requires a control value. Anyway, that's so by the way. So we can close that, and now we can go and define our report. So we can call this Maskani this is specific to company 001. So 001 budget variance. In the title, we can say 1 month budget actuals variance, right? Let's attach our row sets and column sets. So row set, we want to use assets and expenses. Column set, we want to use Mascani budget actuals. We can attach a row order to make our work look good. We have a budget amounts in this report. So control value 1, the budget will be Mascani corporate, right? So that looks good. Let's run the report. Yes. We are still running this for the month of October. And let's submit. This is our request ID. And let's find this. Let's view output. All right. So you can see the flags over here, right? Why? Because this budget amount minus this is negative. So that's the variance. And you can see here it's also negative. The mathematics of this looks very funny. So the flags worked where the variance is below 0. For example, cash, and it flags expense accounts here because this is negative, the ones in brackets, and also the total. All right. However, the mathematics doesn't look very correct. For example, 580 minus this shouldn't be equals to this. So perhaps something we did in our column set, but the flag worked as it's supposed to, where it highlights the figures that match the conditions that we specified. Right. So the ones in this pointed brackets are negative figures. Okay. So let's go back to Oracle. I'll take a quick look at that column set and see what's happening there. Okay. Build column set. PTD. So the other thing we can do is we can take this out, all right, and save our work. Then make it a calculations column. So go to define columns, go to your third column here for the variance, enter calculations, sequence 10. Operator is enter. So this is our first column, which represents the budget amounts. Then sequence 20 should be subtraction. So you're subtracting actuals from the budget. Okay, so that looks good. So let's go and run the report. But this time now, what we are going to do is we are going to run it in exceptions mode. So this is the report. We'll keep everything here is good and run report. So now to run this in exceptions mode, what do? You come to, you have these tabs here. You come to other options, and you have this here, exceptions, okay? So if you select that, you have chosen to run the report in exceptions mode. And let's submit. And that's our request ID. So that's our report, and let's see whether we have succeeded. And there we are. This time looks like the math worked out, and the only thing we are seeing are those figures which meet our exceptions condition, less than 0 on the variance column. Okay, so that's good, and that's good, which you can compare with this report, which we run just by with flags, not in exceptions mode. So that's how you run FSG report in exceptions mode, and that's how you flag figures that you want to highlight. Okay, so the other thing I wanted us to look at is how we can display debit or credit activity in FSG reports. So if we go to our row sets, we'll see that we've been running all our reports to display net activity, okay? But net activity is what? Is the sum of debits and credits that hit that account, okay? So some statements that a company might want to produce will need to show just maybe one side, debit activity or credit activity, okay? Or we can have statements of change. Maybe they want to show things like cash flow or something like that. So you want to see where cash is coming in from and where it's going out to, the deposits or and withdrawals, to put it that way. So you can also customize your reports to show just either or both of this kind of activity. And we do this at the row set level. So we're going to create a report, and we're going to it's going to be a statement of change report where we display debit and then credit activity for particular accounts. So let's quickly go to Oracle. Let's go to row set. Let's create a new row set, and we can call it Maskani statement of change. Let's have the same description. Let's quickly define rows. So for the first definition here, we can have increase in cash. Okay. Let's go to account assignments and see how we can do the account assignments. So we want to do this for the cash account. We'll do it for, let's make it specific to company 01, and the account we want is cash, right? Now we're only doing one account, not a range. Okay, so total or explode is the same thing. So in this case, there's a one-to-one matching between the account assignment and the row definition. All right. So click OK. Now this is where we change the type of activity we want to display. We have net, we have debit and credit. This particular row is showing increase in cash, and we know cash is an asset, right? So increase is a debit. So select debit, okay, and save your work. We can go ahead and create another line definition, and we can call this decrease in cash. Do the account assignment. Company 001. The account is cash. Okay. Decrease in cash is a credit. Save your work. We can also include net cash activity. So in our previous reports, what we've been having is just basically this single line by design, right? Because we've been using net activity. But in this case, we have increase, decrease, and then we have the net. All right. Wrong field. 01. In this case, you can leave this as net. All right. Or you can go and define this as a calculations column instead of doing account assignments. So just go and tell Oracle that this net activity is line 10 minus line 20, or addition, or adding line 10 and 20 to get the net activity. But you can also do it this way. This is a statement of change, so not only cash flow. So we can add other lines for other accounts. So we can say increase in what? Increase in payables or receivables. Let's do receivables. Let's go to account assignments. Company 001. Let's see what receivables accounts we have. We can just do this account instead of these ranges. So, okay. An increase in receivables is debit amount because it's also an asset. Yes. Let's have another line that's decrease in receivables. Receivables. Yeah. Account assignments. Decrease is credit activity. Save that. And let's add net activity. Cash, receivables. You can do calculations or account assignments. Let's stick with account assignments and use the net. So 001 account 001200, and for the net activity line we are going to leave the activity as net. So we can add other accounts, we can add payables and all that, but let's use these two accounts to see what we are going to get. So this is our new row set. We need a column set. So maskani statement of change. Build a column set. We're just going to have one. For the amount type, we are going to use PTD actuals. And the offset is going to be 0. Let's create a default heading, and it's going to show a period of interest, and this looks good enough. You just need one column. Okay, we can add another one for previous month, but not really necessary for this demonstration. So let's save that, and let's define a report. You can call it Maskani statement of change. Cash and account receivables. Which row set do we want to use? Statement of change. Statement of change. Let's have a row order here. Okay, that looks good. And let's run this report for October as we have been doing. Don't need to add anything else. Oh, it's already done. View output. Wow, so this is a very small report. Looks like this is the only account that had activity. There was only an increase in cash in October. There was no decrease in cash and there was no change in. There was no net activity in the accounts receivables. So how can we change this? Because we still need to see results. So maybe if there was no change, we want to see a zero, okay? And what we can do is, let's go to our row set. Scanning statement of change, define rows. What we can do is select this option, display zero, which means that even if there is no activity there and there is a zero, that row will still be displayed. So do that for all your row definitions. Display zero for all the row definitions that you have here. And that's it. Let's save. So let's go to reports and let's look for that report that we just ran, which is Maskani statement of change. And let's run this report again and see what we get. And we want it for the month of October. Right? And so that's it. There was no activity in any of these accounts. So the last thing that I want to demonstrate is a bit on the aesthetic side. So like this report, right? doesn't look very good. You might want to have increase in cash shown there, and then maybe a space, and then go to increase to the next section, which is for receivables, so on and so forth. Okay, so how can you do that? At the row set level, you have some formatting options that can enable you to make your report more presentable. So let's close this and go back to our row set. So this top part here, you have some formatting options, okay? And you can put in formatting options for each line definition or row definition. Oh, this is the wrong row set, sorry. You should be looking at the statement of change. So we have, these are our line definitions in this row set. So let's format it a bit. So we have increase in cash, we have decrease in cash, and then we have what? Net cash activity. So we want to put maybe some space between those two, between decrease in cash and net activity. So you can come here and say, after this decrease in cash, you can skip maybe 2 lines or 1 line. Okay, and you can have a character underlining after that row. All right, and you can choose the whatever character that you want to put there. So we can put a dash, or we can put an equal sign. Okay, so let's put a dash. So we're going to skip 1 line after decrease in cash. We're going to have a dash after that line. Okay, let's go to net cash activity. We can also have like a dash to put that row between dashes. Okay, and we can keep 1 line after this, or 2 lines, so that we can have space between the cash section and the receivables. Okay, so let's leave those 2 and go to decrease in receivables. Let's say we want to skip 1 line after that, and let's put an underline after that. Let's go to the net activity, and let's put another underline character after that row, and we don't have any other row. Okay, so just formatting options that enable you to make the FSG reports more presentable. Let's save our work and see if our report looks any better than the previous one. Statement of change. We're running this for October. Submit. So something like this, okay? So you have increase in cash and decrease in cash there, and then you have the net activity. Then you have receivables together there and the net activity, okay? So these are just some of the ways you can format your report to make it more presentable. Anyway, that's what I had planned for this session. So Robert, unless you have something to add, that's a good place to end.
Thank you, Victor.
Thank you.